into it. Now, I just did an episode on this unhinged Democrat. Her name's Francesca. Very nice name, not the best attitude. And I got another clip because she's just sometimes Piers knows exactly what he's doing when he picks who's going to be on. If you get picked to be on Pierce's show, it's a panel, you got to be like, am I the one everybody's supposed to laugh at? Because she definitely didn't ask that question, and she 100% is the one who everyone is supposed to laugh at in this whole thing. It is ridiculous. What they're going to talk about right now is Trump joining TikTok, the reception he got at the UFC, which was wild, shout outs from the fighters, shaking hands with Joe Rogan, the whole thing. And then they start asking her what she thinks about the whole thing, and what she has to say about Trump in the UFC is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, what you're hearing right now is Kevin O'Leary just touching on how America looked when Stormy Daniels was actually talking about the whole thing with Trump and how distasteful it all was. Let's get into it, folks.
Level you would want to brand a G7
right.
or G20 country, and I think most people are embarrassed about it, to be honest.
I agree with you. And talking of TikTok, Trump joined it, Francesca, at the weekend. He got 3 million followers immediately. But also, this happened at the UFC fight. Dana White let him out, and this is just after he'd been convicted of 34 counts of this crime. Take a look at what the crowd reacted was.
Pretty cool for Sean Strickland to have a moment there with Donald Trump after a win.
President Trump, you're the man, bro. It is a damn travesty what they're doing to you. I'll be donating to you, my man. Let's get it done.
I mean, that followed the entrance. Sorry, Mark?
By the way, Piers, if I have spent the last 2 days having people talk to me at a conference I'm at, telling me that one of the phenomenons on TikTok, as Kevin invoked it, is people saying, I'm voting for the felon, I'm voting for the felon.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you want a poll? I'll give you a poll. Take a look at what's happening there at the UFC fight and take a look at what's happening on TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, we're watching the end. This is when he came in. I mean, the place went completely nuts. And the trouble is, Francesca, I spend a lot of time in New York and LA. I have a place in LA and spend a lot of time working in New York. But I also do a lot of crime documentaries, ironically, which take me down to rural Florida, rural Texas, Alabama, places like that. And let me tell you, none of them agree with you. They all agree with that crowd at the UFC. And if I was a Democrat, I'd be quite unnerved that you've thrown the kitchen sink at this guy. And this is how a lot of the public are reacting.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense that he'd be cheered at UFC. I mean, you know, it's a sport full of actors, and we have this guy who's been pretending to be a serious politician for years now. Look, the important thing about that interview that he gave to Fox News.
You're not besmirching UFC. Hang on. Fact check. You're thinking of WWE, the actors. The UFC, they're real fighters.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I don't have. Cool. Good. I'm glad. Look,
there's a big
still
difference.
Think that
one is acting, one is hardcore elite fighting. They're very different things.
I don't have video feed, but I bet it's dope, and I stand corrected, Piers. But I will say this: with the interview.
Oh God. You know I don't like to interrupt clips, but this is incredible. She is incredible. Piers could not have picked a better person to be on this panel. They just brought up UFC, and she's just like, it's a bunch of actors, right? I've seen the UFC. I know all about the UFC. You know, The Rock, he comes out and he fights Conor McGregor. She thinks The Rock is a UFC fighter. And she's just like, I bet it's dope. Hey, man. Hey, are you taking over for AOC? This is AOC's apprentice. This is the one who's going to take over AOC's position one day. Just so you know, for sure. AOC takes over Nancy's position. Sad day for everybody. And then she fills in AOC's position. That's exactly what is going to be happening. Absolutely amazing. Doesn't even know what the UFC, doesn't know what Donald Trump was actually charged for. Just says crime, white collar crime, finance crime, cooking the books. Doesn't even know, and doesn't even know what UFC is. Who is she? Who is this person? I should be on the show. See, this is the thing. When I see people like this, I'm like, where's my call? When am I getting my call? Why don't they have black conservative perspective on here? You know what I mean? Like, what is this? Get LFR family on here. You're going to have her. She doesn't even know what the UFC is. We get no respect. Get Too Lazy to Try on here. Where's the respect? This is ridiculous. We're getting shafted here, man. Anyway, let's get into it.
He gave on Fox and Friends, I do think it matters, because what he said was the American people aren't going to stand for this. And in some ways, he's saying, you know, he's warning Judge Merchan, and I sort of agreed that I don't think Judge Merchan, even though all y'all think that it's some sort of political hit job, they're not going to put him in jail. Sadly for me, I hope they give him some sort of like community service soup kitchen situation. I'd love to see that, whatever is on his head, in a hairnet. That'd be incredible. Or just like make him work one day in his life, just a single day, maybe on minimum wage. I'd like to see what you do at like a Home Depot, you know, or just like do a landscaping job from one of the many immigrants that you want to deport from this country. Anything that would be more of a punishment than actually sitting in a jail cell. But what he was really saying is, hey, American people, basically stand up for me. In effect, do another January 6th for me. And we all saw what happened, no matter what you think of that day, which I'll remind you, so many Republicans distanced themselves from what happened that day. But the other thing that happened is all these folks who loved Trump, who followed him, who believed in him, were arrested and then charged, rightfully so, for trespassing, for rioting, for threatening the lives of Congress people. And Trump has faced absolutely no music over that. And of course, if Judge Eileen Cannon gets her way, he might never actually face the music until after the election.
He's been charged with very serious crimes in relation to that. That won't happen before the election. Instead, the Democrats collectively, through political reasons and legal reasons and so on, came up with the mad idea of going first with the Stormy case. And that has been a total disaster because no one takes it seriously. Michael Knowles, final point to you. Trump said, my revenge will be success. These are bad people. And he said, it's going to be success will be the best revenge. Do you think that's how this plays out?
It's the only way that it can play out because, as I think most of us on the panel have accepted, there is not going to be some fair legal conclusion to all of this. The only way that this plays out is if the political system in America is not wholly corrupt. It's only substantially corrupt. Biden smirks when he jokes about jailing his political opponents, but it's not wholly corrupt, and the American people can bring enough civil pressure to bear to push this guy back into the Oval Office. That is going to be the only way that this ends.
If he doesn't win the election, Michael will absolutely respect the results of
Well, you know what he'll say,
win,
Francesca?
correct?
And this time with good reason, he'll say,
No, he's Michael Knowles. He's gonna rip his shirt off, rip his pants off, have a tinfoil Speedo on. He's gonna run down the street in a Viking helmet saying tear down the government. What do you think Michael Knowles is gonna do if Donald Trump doesn't win the election? He's gonna be upset, I'm sure. So you're gonna accept it? No, he's gonna rush the White House. What do you think? This Michael Knowles, so ridiculous. Who is this lady? Let me look this lady up. This lady's ridiculous. What does she do? I mean, obviously she's gonna have a podcast, of course. I mean, I got a podcast. Why wouldn't she, right? Anybody can have a podcast. What does she do? Who is she? She has a website? She's a journalist? No way you're a journalist. Are you kidding me? No way. She has videos? What are these? Oh, yeah. See, yeah, there you go. She has a podcast. Red Wine and Who? On MSNBC? Ew, okay. I get it now. I get it. All right. Videos of Bernie Sanders. Okay. Okay, I get you now. Stand-up comedy? Oh, my God. Good Lord. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, man, I talk with comedians all the time. I go on stage myself all the time. I'm a comedian myself. So many guys who have been in it for like 20 years, they're like, 15 years, the younger guys, they're just like, the things that pass for comedy nowadays are just ridiculous. Ridiculous. And this is that I want to play one of her things so bad. I'm not even going to. I'm not even going to. Oh man, the fact that she brought up the fact that Trump said the American people won't stand for this. And then she goes, and what he's basically saying is that he wants them to do another January 6th for him. What are you talking about? He just means they won't stand for it. They're going to be really upset. That's a fact. That's just how it is. If Joe Biden loses, that's going to happen on the left. Are you kidding me? What? You have any idea what could happen? Antifa and BLM are going to activate. We all know what's going to happen. There's going to be like all sorts of things, and they're going to be like, wow, look at all these things that Trump's done. Real chaos now. That's what's going to... I'm hoping not. That's the most nefarious scenario, but it's happened before. We've seen it happen before. But the fact that she's bringing up like, oh, he wants them to commit another January 6th. It's like absolutely ridiculous. And then questioning whether Michael Knowles, which she probably doesn't even know who that is. She's probably just like, it's some white guy. Some white guy on the thing with me. All men here. Why aren't there more women? Why aren't there people of color here? Not realizing that Kevin O'Leary's Irish and Iranian. It's just, man, absolutely ridiculous. Francesca, ladies and gentlemen. The star of this video. Piers knows what he's doing. Piers doesn't play around. When he's picking people, he's like, I'm going to get Michael Knowles, yes? And then let's get Francesca Florentini. Yes. Francesca, do you know what the UFC is? She's like, no, Piers. Fantastic. Come on the show. Know anything about Donald Trump? Orange Man bad? Come on. We're going to be on at 6. Does that work for you? Yes, quite. Oh, man. Ridiculous. Can't wait to see more from her. I know you can't either. Believe me, if anything else comes down the pipe, I'll let you guys know right away. But other than that, let me know what you guys think in the comment section of what she said. The UFC stuff might get cut out. Sorry if it did. I have no idea. Something's going on. Other channels are allowed to use it. Other channels who do what I do, less following than me, more of a following than me. For some reason, I can't, so we'll see what happens there. I got another video that's blocked worldwide, supposedly because I used some UFC footage. Not really sure what's going on there, but either way, let me know what you think of this whole thing in the comment section. Subscribe, like the video, turn on the notifications. It helps the channel tremendously. You have no idea. And other than that, I'm out.